Hello everyone, my name is Miss Smith and I am Head of Languages at Budehaven School. I'm here to talk to you about GCSE French and GCSE Spanish and your options that you could choose for next year. So everyone currently in Year 9 studies Spanish, so everyone would be able to go on and choose to study GCSE Spanish next year. There's also a small group of students who also study GCSE French, so they are able to choose GCSE French instead of Spanish or as well as Spanish. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the course first of all. Now, the course is the same in both French and Spanish. The topics you study are the same. So the first theme, there are three themes. The first one is identity and culture, and that one is broken down into four topics. So the first topic is me, my family, and my friends. And in that topic, we learn how to say who's in your family, to describe what they look like, their personality, to talk about how well you get on with each other. We talk about whether you'd like to get married in the future, and we talk about what a best friend is like and what you like to do with your best friend at the weekend. Our second topic is technology in everyday life. So in this topic, we discuss the pros and cons of the internet, uses of mobile phones, and we talk about social media. So you're able to give your opinions on, things like Instagram or Facebook, and how essential your mobile phone is for you. Topic 3, we discuss free time activities. So we will discuss things like going to the cinema, what films you like, things that you like to watch on TV, your music that you like, and we'll also look at French and Spanish music and TV and films as well. We might talk about sport, what sports you like doing, all those sorts of things. And then the final topic is customs and festivals. In this topic, for example, in Spanish, we will be looking at Las Fallas, which is the festival where they burn the big wooden statues that they spend all year making and then parade around the town. We'll talk about San Fermin, which is the bull running festival. We'll look at El Colacho, which is the baby jumping festival. But this is a topic that we are currently studying in Year 9, so it should be very familiar to Year 9s. So in fact, all those topics in Theme 1 are topics that we do look at in Key Stage 3. So none of them will be a big surprise, and we will just be building on the knowledge that you have developed in Key Stage 3, the knowledge of the grammar, your range of vocabulary words that you know, and we'll just be building them in GCSE. The Customs and Festivals topic we're currently doing now is actually based around the GCSE course. So we will cover 3 topics across Year 9, which are actually GCSE topics. So you will already have done about a third of your GCSE by the end of Year 9. So you are really, given a really good opportunity to have a good start in this GCSE. Okay, so that's Theme 1. Theme 2 is local, national, international and global areas of interest. So that's then broken down into 4 topics again. Topic 1 is hometown, neighbourhood and region. So you will talk about what your house is like, what rooms there are, where it is. You'll talk about your town, the shops. You'll talk about what there used to be in your town, what you would like there to be in your town. We'll go on to discuss where you'd like to live in the future. So everything about where you live. Topic 2 and topic 3 are probably the main topics which are going to be new to Key Stage 4. So social issues and global issues talk about things like volunteering, homelessness, the environment, and there's also a little bit about healthy living on there. And then our final topic for Theme 2 is topic 4, travel and tourism. So we talk about where you normally go on holiday, where you went on holiday last year, where you'd like to go on holiday next year. We talk about types of holiday you like, type of accommodation, different forms of transport, all those types of things related all around going on holiday. And then our final theme is Theme 3, current and future study and employment. So again, 4 topics, and this whole theme talks about school and jobs, really. So the first 2 topics are basically things that you study. So we talk about giving opinions about all the different school subjects. And then topic 2 is more to do with school in general, so what your school's like, what facilities there are, what the uniform is, what the rules are. And then we go on to talk about study after GCSEs, so plans for the future, college, A-levels, apprenticeships, all those sorts of things. And then go on to talk about what job you might like to do in the future. So that one is all about jobs and school. So those three themes, as I said, are the same for French and Spanish. So you would cover both, all of those in whichever course you choose to do. Okay, now we learn those themes through the 4 different skill areas. So we have listening, speaking, reading and writing. And we learn we practice all of these in lesson. And then these are also the skills that you are tested on. So the listening and the reading papers, which will happen in Year 11 of GCSE, are both worth 25%. So every skill paper is worth 25%. And they're very similar to the type of questions that we already do in Key Stage 3 in Year 7 and 8. So you will have to either read or listen and respond to questions, to information. So it may be things like a multiple choice, choosing the letter from a choice of letters. It may be saying if something is true or false, or whether it's positive or negative. There may be an occasion where you're asked to write a word or a short phrase in either Spanish or English. But they're very similar to what we've been doing through Key Stage 3. So you'll be well rehearsed in how to do well on those papers. Paper 2 is speaking. Now, your speaking exam will take place with your languages teacher. And there's 3 parts to your speaking exam. There's a photo card, a role play, and a general conversation question. Now, those general conversation questions are the ones that we have already been looking at on the festival topic that we've been doing in Year 9 in Spanish, for example, and I know they've been doing some in French as well. So we've already had examples of the type of questions that you may be asked in the speaking exam. So by the time you get to the Year 11 speaking exam, you would have had a lot of opportunity to rehearse the questions you're going to be asked in this general conversation section of the speaking exam. So again, nothing is going to be a big shock to you. As well as that general conversation, that is the main bit of the speaking exam. There's also an opportunity for you to respond to a photo. So you have questions on a photo. And then there's also role play. So, for example, you may be asking to book a table at a restaurant or taking a t-shirt back to a shop, all those sorts of things. So that's a speaking exam. It takes place with your teacher. And for foundation tier, you're only 7 to 9 minutes. And for higher tier, it's 10 to 12 minutes. The writing paper, depending on whether you're foundation or higher, there will be either a photo to respond to, write 4 sentences, or there may be little essays for you to complete. The longest essay on the higher tier paper is 150 words. So we're talking about 3 paragraphs. So again, you're used to writing in lesson. We do writing tasks using our sentence builders regularly throughout the lessons. So you're used to doing that. It's about using your connectives and your intensifiers and your frequency expressions and all those things to do with torch that we talk about in lessons. There is also a small translation on both papers. Now, we don't choose whether you are foundation or higher tier until into Year 11, so we don't need to worry about that now, but you will get plenty of opportunity to practice all these different skill papers before we go and do the GCSE and before you choose what tier you want to be. So that's the assessment method. Now, styles of learning. So our lessons in Key Stage 4 are very similar to our lessons in Key Stage 3 because we follow a technique for learning languages which has been evidence to show is the best way of learning a language. It helps retain this vocab in your long-term memory. So in order to do that, we do lots of repetition, we do lots of whiteboard work, and obviously we use these sentence builders. So you will you will complete the similar activities that what you currently complete in your Key Stage 3 class. So that may be a speed writing competition on your whiteboard. It may be a 1 pen, 1 dice. It may be a delayed dictation, it may be sentence stealers, it may be Tangle translation. There's lots of different activities that we do that get you to listen to the items of vocab lots of times, to then say them lots of times, and then an opportunity to start doing some writing on that to practice all the vocab that you've learnt. So your lessons will be very similar to what they have, what you've seen in the last 3 years in Key Stage 3. As well as that, we continue our use of these online platforms. So there'll be Quizlet will be a really good one for you to be using. So you can do this at home, where you can download the app, and there are we will be able to give you links to lists of vocab that is attached to the AQA specification. So we do AQA at Budehaven. There is a list of vocab that you will need to know, the vocab that we're studying at school, and you'll be able to practice that vocab at home via Quizlet. There's also Quizlet Live, which is a great game that we like to play as well. As well as Quizlet, we have the Language Gym, which most of you already used already, so we'll continue using that. And then This is Language is a video site, and this one's brilliant because it shows you authentic Spanish or French speaking people, and they present information based on the topics that we're covering, and we get to respond to that. So it gets really good use to the listening, and also to authentic sounds as well. We'll also use Seneca just for additional practice. So yep, Seneca is another really good one. Okay, so why learn a language? So this is a statement I get regularly, and I want to put it to bed now, because I hear regularly everyone speaks English, and it is simply not true. So let me show you why it's not true. So some facts here for you. There are roughly 6,500 spoken languages in the world today, not just English, there are other languages out there. And 75% of the world's population doesn't speak English at all, which is obviously a massive percentage. Okay, so everyone does not speak English. In fact, only 6% of the world's population speak enough English to just get by. Okay, that's only 6%. So when I hear students saying everyone speaks English, that's not true. 6% of the world speak, and that's just to get by. Okay, that's not to have like a really fluent conversation. So English is clearly not enough. Moving on. Why learn a language? So I hear again, I don't need a language for my job. Now, if we're talking about jobs and business, this definitely isn't true. So in 2016, there was a survey completed, and 54% of British employers were not happy with the foreign language skills of people coming out of university, or the skills that their employees had. So it's been estimated that the lack of language ability loses the UK an estimated 3.5% of economics performance. So that's a lot of money. Okay, so it is a really big issue. And in fact, because of Brexit, because we are now in a different trade situation, UK employers are desperately seeking people who speak additional languages. And our lack of language skills has been highlighted as a real concern for growing businesses, limiting our opportunities to trade and affecting the growth of the economy. So now, probably more than ever, having a language is a really valuable skill that employers are looking for. It makes you more employable, and it is wanted because we need it. And businesses are telling us that not having languages is affecting their ability to trade, and it's affecting their ability to earn money, basically. So another fact for you, Europe is the world's largest market, and France is Europe's second largest market. So that French that you're learning that you say isn't relevant, well, if you go on to do to work for someone in a company that may trade abroad, then France is maybe the market they trade for, and because it's a big one. A customer on the internet is 3 times more likely to buy when addressed in his own language. So again, lots of business happening online. So again, we need people who are able to translate things from English into different languages on the internet, so we can make our businesses more successful. And if money interests you, well, on average, people who use languages in their jobs earn an 8% more. So that's just from having a language, and that might just be at GCSE level. Just because it's a valuable skill. So people are willing to pay for that. Okay, another one I hear, I'm never going to be fluent, so there's no point. Okay, again, not true. So let's talk about communication. So language and communication skills will always be useful no matter what you are doing. Okay, there isn't a job around that doesn't require you to communicate in some way, shape, or form. Learning a language really develops your communication skills. So you'll learn how to not just express yourself better, but understand other people better, and just develop those communication skills. As well as communication, learning a language helps you develop your knowledge of grammar and use of the English language. So, for example, we spend a lot of time talking about how to create sentences, talking about connectives, talking about verbs and adjectives and what makes a good sentence. So, all that stuff we do in class really does develop your use of English. So, that's going to benefit you across whatever you do in life. Okay. And learning a language develops problem solving skills. So people who have learned a language have figured out ways to solve a problem. And it's, again, a good skill in lots of different scenarios. Okay, I also hear this. I'm never going to go to Spain or France, which I find fairly amusing for someone to say who is, maybe just, well, not, still a teenager. So how do you know? How do you know that you're never going to Spain or France? How do you know where life is going to take you? How do you know that that job that you get in that company isn't going to relocate, or there's not going to be changes, and your job may change and they may have European links? How do you know that you're not going to ever go there on holiday? I would definitely recommend to go to Spain, to go to France, to go to South America. There's lots of different countries where speak Spanish and French. You don't need to just go to Spain or France. But in fact, we do tend to go to Spain. So 30% of foreign visitors in Spain come from Britain, and more than 13 million British tourists visit Spain every year. Are you not one of them? And do you never plan to be? So when you are on holiday in Spain or France or wherever you are, communicating with the locals means that you can get the best experiences. So they will tell you where the best beaches are. They will tell you which ones the dodgy restaurants are that you shouldn't go and eat at. And you don't have that insider information if you're not able to communicate with them. Okay. And it doesn't have to be communication just because you speak that language. So even if it's not France or Spain or one of the French or Spanish speaking countries that you go to, just from having a first language, as we talked about, it enables you to communicate better. So even if you're in a country where you don't speak the language, then you are in a better position to be able to communicate with the locals. So, for example, there's lots of links for Spanish and Portuguese and in Italian, and actually all our languages come from Latin base. So there are links across all our languages. So having one of these will help you communicate in all these different countries you can visit. I also hear French and Spanish isn't relevant to me, which is obviously false, because we are global citizens. More and more we are global citizens. So learning a language gives you a better understanding of the world and how we're all connected. You understand and accept different cultures and traditions. And I also think it's really enjoyable. I think it's been fun for us recently in Spanish this term to be learning about festivals in Spain, about their different customs, about why they eat 12 grapes at midnight on New Year's Eve, and why they think a man jumping over babies lying on a bed in the middle of the street takes away their sin and why that's necessary. So it really makes you aware of the world outside, and how fascinating that world is. And you may not know, but as I said, we are all linked to Latin. That's where all our languages originated from. So from royal to roast beef, many of the words associated with English traditions come from the French language. So without knowing it, you're probably already using words from the French language in your everyday speech. Okay, post 16 and careers. So this is a display we have up here in school of all the different skills you will learn from learning a language and all the different jobs that you could do. I hear regularly, oh, I'm not going to be a teacher, so I don't need French or Spanish, or I'm not going to go abroad, so I don't need French or Spanish. Recently, a local company, Imbued, have contacted us to ask if we can offer them language learning lessons, because they're now finding themselves in a need to communicate, and they aren't able to do that because they don't have the language skills. This isn't a big multinational company set in London. This is a company that we have here in Bude. So the point is, you don't know where you're going to go. You don't know what you're going to do. And there are a whole range of things here on the board which you won't have associated with learning a language. But maybe you should have another look and see whether you becoming a professional footballer, for example, would be benefited from you learning a language. And Gary Lineker is the one to look at if you're thinking about being a professional footballer, because he is a massive advocate of speaking a foreign language, and because of his own experiences as a footballer. So have a look at this and see if the job you're thinking about is on there, or see if the skill that you might be interested in is on there. So resilience, for example, confidence, meeting friends, working abroad, all these different things that are open to you because you have a language. So although students say to me, I'm never going to France or Spain, or I don't need a language, what I hear regularly from parents is, I wish I learned a language at school. Because they can, as they're older, see the value, or there have been circumstances where they would have needed to have a language or just those communication skills. So you never know where life is going to take you. Although you may be able to think now that you know where you're going to go, you never know fully. So in that case, give yourself the best opportunities and choices. Keep your options open. Having a language GCSE will always be a disadvantage. It's never going to, having a language GCSE will always be an advantage. It's never going to disadvantage you. It's always going to be something that someone sees on your CV and says, wow, that's impressive. That's a good thing to have. So I hope I have given you some ideas as to what our course is like in Budehaven, and why you should learn a language. So I just moved my head there so you can see my email address. If you have any questions or anything you would like to discuss with me, then you can email me. My address is there, claire.smith@budehaven.com.sch.uk, or you can talk to one of your languages teachers. Okay, thanks very much. I hope you consider GCSE French or GCSE Spanish as one of your options.